everyone, welcome to Naturally High, the channel that helps you grow your 4A, 4B and especially 4C hair to longer lengths. Today's video is going to be focused on what science says about Afro hair. You may have noticed that I'm wearing a wig today. Don't let that detract from what I'm saying. I am going to be talking about Afro hair, and if you are interested in my regime, you can click here or you can click here and you will see some more information about how I take care of my hair as well as what my natural hair looks like. All the information in this video was taken from scientific journals, and you will be able to see quotes below directly from the scientific papers as well as references, so you can check out the papers and read a bit more about the studies yourselves if you are interested. I created this video because I'd like to help beat the misinformation in the natural hair community, and I do hope you find it insightful and informative. Before I get onto the main content of this video, I do want to say that a lot of it is based on studies which categorize people into groups, and these groups are mainly Asian, European and African. There aren't really studies on any other groups. Sometimes they do include Indigenous American, but do please note that in general race is not a biological concept, because there is more variation within any of these groups than there is between groups. There are no biochemical differences between Asian, European and African hair. However, differences in morphology have been observed. These stem from follicle curvature. Afro hair tends to have a curved follicle, whereas Asians and Europeans mainly have straight follicles. As a result, cross-sections of black hair appear elliptical or flattened, while white hair is oval and Asian is round. We all know that Afro hair is prone to knots, but here are the differences between knots among different hair types. The knot in panel A shows a huge amount of damage to the cuticle around a knot in kinky hair. Contrastingly, the knot to the right from straight European hair is looser, with no apparent damage to the cuticle. The scientists who wrote this article proposed that we should use techniques that reduce both knotting and combing of our natural hair if we want to see an increase in length. That means that we should keep up our protective styles. So I'm on the right track. On screen you can see a micrograph of a matted section of Afro hair. A micrograph is just an image taken through a microscope. The study found that longitudinal fissures or splits were common. They also saw that as a result of breakage, the outer layer of hair was severely damaged, exposing the inner layers in Afro hair. That means that we should minimize how often our hair gets matted, because even after we detangle it and loosen the matted section, it will be damaged and the hair will remain damaged. On screen you can see a scanning electron micrograph showing the ends of African hair versus the two other hair types that they looked at. A and E show black hair. As you can see, while our ends tend to be ruptured, the cuticle of the mid portion of our shaft tends to be well preserved. It seems our hair isn't as weak as we thought it was. You may have once heard of Carolus Linnaeus, the revered taxonomist who came up with the current system we use to classify all living things, such as Homo sapiens. He also came up with the classification of race, which lives on today politically, socially and economically. According to him, our hair is the second most important racial identifier after skin colour. He described the four races as Homo europaeus with straight brown or yellow hair, Homo americanus with straight black hair, Homo asiaticus with abundant black hair, and of course Homo afur with black frizzled hair. Did you know that the use of the term woolly to describe Afro hair dates back to the days of slavery, when the African body needed to be dehumanized in order to justify the atrocities committed against it? According to the Oxford English Dictionary, its use to mean the short, tightly curled hair of Negroid peoples was first used in an advert for a runaway slave in 1697. Our frizzy hair was also seen as demonic, licentious and pubic. People of African descent have been found to have hair with a slightly lower water content than other hair types. In addition, our sebaceous glands secrete less sebum, which is then less able to travel down the hair shaft due to its shape. The result is hair that often looks and feels dry. According to one of my favourite bloggers and fellow scientist, The Natural Haven, our hair's shine is determined by three main factors: colour, the shape and thickness of our hair and the number of kinks or curls along our strands. She says that as our hair gets darker, less light is scattered and more light is reflected back, making our hair appear shinier. I've already mentioned hair shapes. Well, the rounder the hair shaft, the less light it reflects. That means that if we only consider shape, our elliptical hair is actually the shiniest. The kinks in our hair are what make our hair a bit less shiny. However, if your hair can clump, making all strands fall in the same direction and reflecting all light in a uniform way, then it will shine. Hair that doesn't clump directs light in multiple directions and will thus not appear to shine. That's why straight, wavy and curly hairs which align together look shiny. This is an interesting one. To date, no single study has found that castor oil increases the thickness of black hair. It is true that some naturals perform nightly massages with castor oil to stimulate blood flow to the scalp. However, the results showing an increase in growth from these nightly massages are concurrent with studies that show that massages with water alone also improve blood flow to the scalp and thus improve growth. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. Please show your support by liking it or commenting with your feedback below, and you can check out this video if you want to see something a bit different from my channel.